Hello everyone, welcome back to another InfoSec operator tutorial. In today's tutorial, we are going to be learning how to set up a hacking lab using Oracle VM Virtualbox. Within Oracle VM Virtualbox, we are going to have three different operating systems. One operating system is Kali Linux, which is just a Linux operating system that is basically set up with all the tools needed in order to perform hacking and penetration testing. And we can, of course, add more programs to that later down the road or create our own. And then the next program or the next operating system will be Metasploitable. This is a vulnerable web server, also Linux-based, that has basically holes in it that we can tap into and learn how to hack. And then, of course, a third operating system will be a Windows operating system, either Windows 8 or Windows 10, so that way we can practice hacking what would be a standard computer. Again, all of this is being done in Oracle VirtualBox. And after I show each of you how to set this up in this video, we are going to go and learn through a series of videos that I am creating how to hack all these multiple operating systems. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and definitely do subscribe. I'm, as of right now, 9 subscribers away from 500 subscribers. This is really awesome and I appreciate all of your support and each of you watching the video. Now without further ado, let's go ahead and learn how to set up a hacking lab. The very first step that each of you need to do is to download VirtualBox. You can go to www.virtualbox.org and just click download, and it should already understand which operating system that you're downloading for. You can use this on Mac, you can use this on Linux, you can use this on Windows. Essentially any operating system VirtualBox can be downloaded on. So just go ahead and do that and then run the program. It's very easy setup, very straightforward. You really don't have to add anything or unadd anything. It's just a very straightforward, quick and easy download. Next, you want to download Metasploitable. Now you can go to Rapid7 and get it from them, or you can go to sourceforge.net/project/Metasploitable and download from there. It's also very straightforward. I don't think that there is anything that you need to do in order to get this program set up. I believe it's just, again, like VirtualBox, you just click through and you should be all set. Something a little bit different though is the Kali Linux download. You can go to www.kali.org/get-kali and you should come to this page here. You can change it light or dark. I prefer dark, not that it matters because we are only doing one of two things here. You can either get bare metal if you want to put your Kali Linux operating system onto your hard drive of your desktop or laptop computer, or you can get virtual machines. Now, the virtual machines version is just a package specifically for VirtualBox. And then all you do, and I will show you each of you here in a moment, all you do is just basically upload it into the virtual machine and run it, and you should be good to go. Now, bare metal you can download and also use into a virtual machine, but it does take a little bit longer, a little bit more to set up, which is okay because that is, I believe, the way that I'm going to go ahead and do it for each of you. Either way works though, and I will show each of you both ways. So go ahead and get those downloaded, and then let's get into how to set all of this up. Alright everybody, now that you have all of the programs necessary downloaded, we want to go ahead and open up Oracle VM VirtualBox. Now I erased or deleted all of the virtual machines that I had set up previously, so that way I can walk each of you through this step by step in order to set up your hacking lab as if you've never done it before. So this is the screen that you should be greeted by with Oracle VM Virtualbox. And it doesn't really matter in which order you want to create these machines, but I'm going to start with the Metasploitable. So we're going to click this new icon up here, and I'm just going to name it Metasploitable. When selecting down here the type and the version, it doesn't matter which machine folder, by the way. You can put it wherever you want or just leave it. It should already know or have it done for you. But the type is going to be Linux because it is Linux based. And then we're going to go down to Other Linux and click on, I believe it's going to be a 64-bit system. And then click Next. Now, the memory size is how much RAM you're taking from your actual computer. Everything that each of you are seeing here, we are going to be taking some of its RAM or random access memory. The recommended size is 512, which for Metasploitable, that is completely fine. It's really not a huge system that needs a lot of RAM. It's not doing too much. Essentially, for the most part, during the basics, you're just going to be letting it sit there running. So we can just click on Next. Now this is the part that gets confusing to those who don't know their way around Oracle VM. You need to use an existing virtual hard disk file in order to get Metasploitable in here, or any pre-packaged virtual disk, okay? So when we do that, we just go and we click this little icon next to the empty area. We're going to hit the add icon, and I did a download of Metasploitable, and you go through there and you can see it always has this little blue cube next to whichever virtual machine disk that you have downloaded. So whether you do it for Kali Linux, whether you do it for a Windows virtual machine, Metasploitable, whatever it is, it should have this blue cube next to it. And you can also tell that the size is going to be a little bit bigger than the rest of the files that come with the download. So just open that. We're going to click on it and click choose, and then we're just going to create. And then, I mean, that's really should be it, but we're going to go ahead and start it and make sure. Sometimes this may take a moment, especially if you're creating new machines, but this one should be pretty quick because, again, there's not an entirely huge amount of things that come with it. Okay, so it's going through the checklist, making sure that the system's alright, good to go. And here we are, Metasploitable. The first thing, in order to get it going and have access to it, it literally gives you the login and password to get started. It says right there, I'd point my mouse, but it's not capturing my mouse right now. But we're just going to do MSF admin. And I spelled that incorrectly. If I could spell today, that would be awesome. Alright, so MSF admin for the login username. And then the password is the exact same thing, MSF admin. Make sure I spelled that one correctly. And we're in. So I just want to make sure and make sure that we got a IP and everything for it, which is, I will go over all this later, but I'm just running through and seeing, you know, making sure that everything's there. Okay, so that system is good, up and running, and when you want to shut the system off, you click the X, and you can either save the machine state if you're in the middle of something, or just simply power off the machine. We haven't done anything important yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and power off the machine. Now, we want another new machine. This one I'm going to make as the Kali Linux. So we're going to hit new, and I'm just going to call it Kali. And this one's a little bit different. You select Linux, and Kali Linux is Debian based, and we want 64-bit. if you downloaded the 64-bit version of Kali. Click Next. Now for this, we want a little bit more RAM because we're running lots of hacking tools and programs and software and all that, okay? So I recommend going up a couple bars here. So 3072 should be sufficient, but I'm going to go a little bit higher because I use it for a lot more items than just teaching people. So I'll go with something kind of close to, we'll go 5120, all right? For the purpose of this, you know, each of you learning the basics of hacking, I would honestly just go down probably somewhere about 2560, but like I said, I'm gonna go up to 5120. Now this one, I don't have a virtual hard disk file for it. I use the bare metal version, which is an ISO. So I'm going to create a virtual hard disk now, and we're just going to say it's a VDI VirtualBox disk image. Click Next. Now again, if each of you downloaded the virtual machine version on the Kali Linux website, just do the same thing as Metasploitable and then go in through that way. But I like the ISO. So we're going to do dynamically allocated. And it says 8 gigabits, but that is not nearly enough at all. I highly recommend each of you go 60 or higher, especially once we start downloading tools and things like that. You're going to need the room. So we're going to go with 64 gigs. Create. Now for this, we have to do something a little bit different. We're going to have to go into the settings of this machine, and we're going to have to go to the storage, and we need in the controller IDE the Kali Linux disk image. So we have Kali Linux right here, Kali Linux 2022.1 installer. So we're going to do the disk image file, and we're going to click on it, and then we're going to choose. And this empty one here actually could just be removed. And then we hit OK, and it should start. So we're going to start that and go through the process of setting this up. So we want to do a graphical install. So I just hit enter, and we got to wait for it to boot. Okay, once it's booted, you're going to have to select the language that you want to use the entire operating system in, especially the instructions. But default is usually English, so go ahead and use English if you speak English. I'm clearly from the United States, so we're going to use that. And then we're going to use American English. And it's going to detect and mount installation media. Loading. Now my computer's a lot faster than the average computers out there, except for a gaming computer. But we're going to, so it's going to go a little bit quicker. Some of you may have a longer time doing this, so if you need to pause the video as we're doing this. And this video is longer because I'm explaining step by step you know, what's going on here. I'm going to keep the host name. The host name is the name of the computer system that you're using. So when you open up the terminal, it'll have your username at whatever the host name is. So let's say infosec operator at Kali. That's what we're going to keep for the purpose of this tutorial. And we do not have, I don't have a domain name or anything. I'm not running this as a server, whatever. So you can just click continue. Now we need a name for the user. this, for whatever reason, they changed it from becoming root, and then you create an account, to now you have to create an account, and then you can attempt to become a root user. I don't understand why they did that, but anyway, never use your real name. That is just a huge mistake, especially when you're getting into hacking. Never use your real name. So I'm going to go with infosec operator and continue. Again, that's the username for the account, so we're just basically verifying. And then always make an extremely strong password. So that's my extremely strong password. There we go. And I'm Eastern time zone. So, disk partitioning. Some people say it is very hard to do, and it can be if you're doing it on your actual computer, but for this one, we're just going to do guided use entire disk. Continue. And then we got that 68.7 gigs of hard disk space, so we're going to use that. Now, you can separate the partitions, I suppose, but I don't find that any useful until you're starting to get into some like serious Linux administration. So all files in one partition would be perfect. And then we're going to finish partitioning and write changes to the disk, so enter. And then we want to click yes, it's fine. So now it's going to partition the disk and go through its thing, and then it may take a few moments because this is the largest part of the installation. So when you guys get to this screen, just go ahead and leave what's checkmarked. I'm not going to get into the details of all this, but essentially there's just added looks and features, I suppose. But everything you need in order to begin hacking is already right here. So just go ahead and click continue. Alright everyone, so this system has offered to install the Grub bootloader. If you guys want to do that, you can, because it is the only system we're running. We haven't split the hard drive or whatever, so I guess you could just select yes. Or when back at the beginning there, when it had all them check marks, we could check mark that off if you want, but for the sake of just getting through this, I'm going to say yes. And then entire device manually, or I guess it would need to make a newly installed system bootable by installing Grub bootloader on a bootable device. So I guess we could just go with that. So that way it's already on the system, and then it's going to finish the installation, and we're going to check and make sure that it works properly. So the installation is complete, so we're going to continue, and it's going to boot into it, restart the system, boot again. Alright, and then do not forget your username and password. That is a nightmare. So we're going to put that in, enter the password, and we're going to log in. So I'm going to go full screen so you guys can see. So this is what it looks like the very first time that you boot into it. and we're going to check and make sure that internet and all that's working. So I'm going to widen this terminal up, and we're going to make sure that we have internet and everything. So in if config, which we do have internet. Okay, we're going to list, we got all our files and everything, so that's good. And we're going to clear. And then the very first thing that each of you do before we move on to the next thing is go ahead and make sure that it is updated and upgraded. So in order for us to be able to do that, we have to do sudo apt-get update, and then we have to put in our password. Okay, that's done, so we're good. And then we want to do sudo apt-get upgrade, because there may be an upgrade by now. And this is going to take up some space, but that's okay. Hit Y and then enter. And we're going to get all of the absolute latest libraries, packages, programs, tools, software, etc., downloaded into this operating system. Alright guys, now that this is all done and set up after a few minutes of downloads and waiting, we're basically good to go. The next thing later on in this tutorial series, this is just part one, like the very beginning. Later on in the series, we'll go ahead and get Windows virtual machines set up too, but right now I'm not worried about that. The two primary ones currently at the moment was Metasploitable and Kali Linux here. So guys, in the next tutorial, we're actually going to go ahead and start looking at how we hack a web server and another Linux system, essentially. So, thank you guys for watching this tutorial. I know this one was longer. I appreciate each of you watching it all the way through and learning how to do this. Please do like the video and definitely subscribe, because, as I said, there's going to be multiple parts of this tutorial, and we're going to start from the beginning of how to use Kali Linux to access Metasploitable. So I don't want you guys to miss that. Subscribe, turn on your notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. As of right now, InfoSec Operator out.